I went to the Jubilee weekend training in 2019. I figured it would be interesting to be with UUs to discuss a subject I thought I knew. I was completely amazed and embarrassed about how little I knew and how deeply rooted in the system, our system, racism is. At that time, I really thought we just needed to change the hearts and minds of racist people, but I didn't see the systems, many of them, as the much bigger problem. I learned about what we call bad neighborhoods and what we let happen to them right in front of our eyes. Things like where you buy food, who do you see more often, the bank teller or the police, how train tracks ruin neighborhoods, how discipline is handled in schools. Most importantly was the grace that was given by our Black UU facilitators to let us consider all this new information in a safe space. I highly recommend making time for Jubilee this year.
When I was introduced to Jubilee, this was prior to COVID, my initial instinct was to wonder what I would really gain, particularly as a person of color, from this particular experience. How would this set of activities and coming together be any different than so many I had attended before, and in my native Texas lingo, all saddle and no horse? Well, immediately on the first day, I found myself shoulder to shoulder with a mini multicultural universe. We were bombarded collectively and individually with memory and perception. We were led to feel, reflect, discuss, and reimagine how we experienced and continue to experience historical events, such as songs, cartoons, films, books, and particularly familiar phrases. We openly examined and reflected upon instinctive responses. Workshop leaders then skillfully unpacked and examined those experiences with us. Discussions were both meaningful and potentially transformative. And to my surprise, and perhaps naively so, I learned how intrinsically systemic the accepted order of things can be when they're unexamined. We learned what we live, what was the possible mindset, and our feelings of the little white girl who drank beside me from the white water fountain, as I drank from the colored fountain. What did we each learn? What did we both learn? What was the expectation and advantage of those around us, and why? We dared to talk about it in these sessions. The work of anti-racism is to make sense of the community around us and to empower all of us to facilitate change at both the micro and macro levels. In the words of the most recent UCWC Sunday Morning presenter, we learned to listen. To paraphrase Jeff Milchin of UU World, anti-racism requires both urgency and patience. Jubilee workshops offer a platform for addressing both.
I attended Jubilee last spring, and I can attest that the time really flew. There were lots of breaks built in, and the activities were varied so that my interest was held throughout the weekend. The thing that was most meaningful to me was the opportunity to hear from members of the BIPOC community in real time on the topics that we were all discussing. I really appreciated their willingness to share their opinions and perspectives. As the weekend went on and we all became more comfortable with one another, more and more people shared their personal stories. These were things that you don't often have the opportunity to hear in most settings, and I learned a lot. The small group breakout discussions gave each of us a chance to contribute to the conversation as well as ask questions. I discovered that as much as I thought I knew, that there really is a lot more to learn. I also discovered that being with UU members participating from across the country is a very uplifting experience, even when we're dealing with difficult topics. I highly encourage everyone to attend, but especially those who haven't had the opportunity to experience Jubilee yet. I guarantee it will leave you with a lot to think about.
Jubilee has been an important part of my anti-racist journey. It's a journey that I have been on for much of my life. Being a white, cisgender woman of a certain age, I've needed to rely on the stories and experiences of people of color to learn more about why racism persists, in spite of what seem to be our best efforts to eliminate it. At Jubilee, I worked with 3 wise and experienced facilitators who have been UU racial justice activists for decades. Learning from their lessons, hearing their stories and the stories of UUs from around the country have given me tools that have helped further my understanding of race and racism, as well as my role in it. Jubilee has given me the resolve to continue in this work. I strongly encourage you to consider participating in the upcoming Jubilee workshop. It might very well be transformational for you, as it has been for me.
Although I wasn't thrilled to give up a weekend for training, I found Jubilee extremely valuable for deepening my understanding of racism in America, both historically and today. This is information that you don't get anywhere else. It was totally worthwhile. And there are breaks each day to get other things done too. Please sign up for the next training in March.